Welcome. Desmond, Jesse. One of the frustrations of our time here today is it's so short. We want to introduce Jesse and Desmond to you. I'm sure you know them anyhow, but they're going to be around, so you'll get some time to talk. But I wanted us to start with Desmond. It was really just to talk about your own work. Because obviously people knew you originally as an athlete.
Yes.
But what I guess not everybody knows is that you have a complementary and second career as an artist. This was Desmond's work back here. Could you tell us a little bit about how you discovered that talent in yourself and what it means for you?
I discovered art around 12 years old, and I always tell people that I was an artist turned basketball player. I played basketball, football, ran track, played baseball all the way up through high school. But once I found art, it became my love and my step away from sports. So it was definitely something that was always in me. And I think now, post-basketball, people are starting to find out really how much it means to me.
When you say when you found art, how did you find it?
You know, I was one of those kids that got a lot of trouble for doodling on my desk and writing on my books and so on and so forth. But I just love playing with clay and dirt and mud. So that's kind of where I led into art. I was actually, I did ceramics. I threw on a wheel for about 4 or 5 years before I actually started getting into painting and drawing.
Did you get into trouble at school for doodling?
I got into a lot of trouble at school, yes. I destroyed a lot of books, absolutely.
You know, one of the people I interviewed, I did a book called The Element, and one of the people I interviewed for it was Matt Groening, who created The Simpsons. And he was in constant trouble at school for doodling. They said he was wasting his life.
Wrong. They were
Didn't
wrong.
work out that way, you know?
They were, yeah, just like the Glee Club and Elvis, they were wrong too.
So when you're working now, I mean, what is it you get, if you can describe it, from your work as an artist that's different from or complementary to your experience as an athlete?
You know, I'm a little bit of a different artist. I go into a lot of different directions on a daily basis. I was trained in a lot of realism, a lot of still lifes and landscapes. And so about 2004, I transitioned over into abstract expressionism after watching the movie Pollock. And, you know, from there, I just stayed very versatile. I was kind of all over the map. But what art's done for me, especially in my years in basketball, that travel schedule, as we were talking about with Jesse in the back, the travel schedule, just the vigorous practices and so on and so forth, it was a way to step away from the game. It was just a lot of things going on in my life at the time, a lot of people, a lot of media, and really my safe place was my studio. So for me, it was a great compliment to my life. From a basketball standpoint, it really just kind of took me out of that element and allowed me to go back to my college days and when I was young and be creative.
Yeah, it's a solitary thing, isn't it, to paint? Whereas basketball is clearly not. I mean, is there?
Absolutely. Like I said, I like to call it my safe place. For me, it's a place to get away. My studio is where I love to go. And again, I'm an emotional painter, so it allows me just to express everything on canvas. So all those things, whether good, bad, frustration, stresses, I'm able to utilize it and put it on canvas, get it out of my body, and go back home and enjoy my family.
Yeah. Incidentally, one of the reasons I asked for the stools is that he's 6'5". You know,
my knees are...
I couldn't take the intimidation, so. Jesse, when did you start composing?
I would say seriously composing about 10 years ago. You know, I had done...
Seriously composing as opposed to what?
Well, I guess full-time, every day. And, you know, I was able to do that because I started teaching music. I started as a guitar teacher. So it really allowed me to, you know, spend 8-9 hours a day at a piano. And you know, this is, you know, you mentioned some of these things last night of economic. You know, it's so important for people to have the time in their day to work on their art. And you know, I was so lucky to have a job that allowed me to work on art all day. And so it's so important for, you know, our society and our culture to value art and let artists, you know, so they don't have to work 3 jobs or to spend that time. And to me, you know, that work is so crucial to live as an artist and to put all your mind and your time into that.
What does it mean to you to live as an artist?
Well, I mean, for me, it's the source of life. You know, it's in some ways we're all artists and we're all meant to do art in some capacity or another. It doesn't have to be painting or it doesn't have to be playing the guitar. But it's quality of life. It's what we're here to do. We're here to love and to make art. So to me, it's totally essential to live that way.
When you're composing, you're in a band.
Yeah.
Do you compose collaboratively with the band, or do they play your songs?
Well, how can I put this nicely?
It may not be.
No, you know, I do write the music, and but it's a collaborative effort. I mean, we've been a band for 10 years, and so the process of actually playing it live is a completely other thing. You know.
You started really young, didn't you, as a composer?
Yeah.
Did you ever doubt that's what you were going to do?
No. And you know, I think I never doubt it because, you know, that's what I always want to do, but I also, you know, was supported so much by my family. And this is another thing I think is truly important is, you know, to have that backing of your family, and this is kind of a greater thing of parents and society encouraging art and saying, you know, now it's, you know, I have a lot of friends that were into art, but their parents were like, okay, now it's time to get a real job. Now it's time to wake up.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to forget the dream. And for that encouragement is truly important and I'm a very, you know, lucky recipient of that.
Yeah. Were there people in your life, Desmond, I mean, kind of key people who encourage you at the right time?
Yeah, I mean, in both capacities, in art and in sports. Obviously, my family, you know, back home was big supporters of everything that I did. And from there, once I got to college, you know, my coach in college he supported every direction that I went in. And I really found phenomenal, you know, in Stillwater, I found phenomenal art teachers. You know, a place that you didn't think you would find great art teachers. I found some phenomenal teachers that really allowed me to grow as an artist. So that was the second part of my life. I had a great coach in Eddie Sutton, and then just phenomenal teachers at Oklahoma State. And then post that, I mean, it was coaches and my wife, and, you know, now even my kids. You know, it says support from family is very essential to what I do every day. So, I mean, I just, along the way, I've had a lot of people really help get me to this place I am today.
I think it's a role that people often overlook, you know, this role. Often other people see the talent in us before we do.
Absolutely. You have, again, especially family, you know, they have big dreams, just as I do for my kids. I can see, you know, the direction my kids are headed in now, and I just see that they have a lot of talent and a lot of ability to do some great things. And so It's my job to make sure that they understand they won and then to support them too.
Yeah. I was saying this last night, you know, we all create our own lives in the end. And often people are steered away from things they love to do by people who think they know better for you.
Exactly.
So, but your parents, your mother was a musician, is that right?
Yeah, my mom was a piano teacher.
Yeah.
And so I grew up with a lot of music in the house, and was encouraged to at music at an early age. I was, you know, very active in it. So.
And can I just ask you before we finish, do you have I want to ask you both this, do you have a particular process when you're working?
Yeah, for me, it's a daily process. You know, I get sometimes asked the question, where's, you know, that moment of inspiration, what is that like? And to me, there's no light bulb ever. There's daily work, and then I come to find, I look back and go, there's this work there. And so for me, it's always daily. It's always, you know, and whatever it may be. It might be working on a drone or a song or you know, a violin piece.
Yep.
It's always daily. And then I kind of come to find out what's good or bad, you know.
Yeah, that's right. I think that it's a really important point. People often think that creativity is just kind of hanging out and going loose, you know.
Right.
But I mean, just watching the Philharmonic earlier, there's so much discipline and rigor.
Yeah, it's
in-
work.
It's work,
But
yeah. And inspiration is a small piece of it very
Yeah.
often, you know.
right.
Yeah.
But you know, work and it's love, you know, and good love is always, you know, hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my process is fairly simple. I mean, I'm an emotional painter, so you know, I utilize my emotions and my experience to create when I go into my studio. You know, outside of that, personally, technique goes out of the window. You know, I enjoy exploring my canvas and the paints, and so I really try to, you know, hunt for things as I continue to paint. You know, I have some things that I stay online with, but for the most part, I go in and I just really get loose. So if you see the work, you just see it's kind of all over the place at this stage in my life, in my art life, but it's just very emotional, so it's fairly organic.
Do you work on several pieces at the same time, or is you just focused on one?
Now I'm starting to work on more than one piece. I used to be a one-piece painter, but as I continue to grow in my art and the directions that I go in and putting together series, then I start to work on more than one so I can maintain the vibe that I'm working on.
Well, the great painters of the Renaissance used to have teams of people doing the paintings for them.
I'm working on it.
Production line. You work on it.
You guys are more welcome to join my studio.
So increase your output, you know.
Exactly.
Can we thank Jesse and Desmond?
Thank you.
Thank you.